Going to begin with Erling Haaland chat. Of course, it looks like he's now a Man City player. Before we have a chat, let's hear what Pep Guardiola had to say this afternoon after he was asked about Haaland's move to Man City.
I would love to talk, honestly, but I can't. They tell me don't say anything until for the legal actions or legal situation that it's far away from my perspective. So we will have time to talk about that. Not because I don't want, so I can't.
I think this is potentially one of the biggest signings in Premier League history.
He was salivating.
I know.
Could you hear him?
I know.
It was like a kid literally opening up Christmas presents.
It was like you when you got that pen and they opened it up. It was like the scene in Pulp Fiction with the gold inside the suitcase or briefcase. I think this is absolutely massive. I mean, we know he's a superstar. I was going to say in the making, but he's probably a superstar already. Mm-hmm. If he stays fit, right, and he does tend to over the last 18 months pick up a few niggling injuries, but either way, he is potentially an absolute superstar.
If you had to design a centre forward right now for the modern game, you're designing him. He's physically, he's quick, very quick, incredibly well built. His movement is there's not many flaws, although there will be at 21. There aren't many flaws you see in his game. You see highlights packages, right? And we've just seen a catalogue of what he's been doing at Dortmund. His finishing is frightening. But there's parts to his game that will improve. There's parts to his game that Pep will want to improve. He's 21. He's not the finished article. But they are signing... there aren't many of that type around. If you think about what used to be when I grew up watching football, that type, Frank Stapleton, for example, Bob Latchford, those
Mark
type
Haitley.
Mark Haitley, Kerry Dixon, those type of centre forwards. You tend not to find too many of them
anymore. Can I chuck in one now? Mark Falco.
Mark Falco.
Did you like
yes.
that?
Yeah. Any more? Can you? I mean,
what, the old school centre forwards?
Joe Jordan.
Show my age now.
Joe Jordan.
You like that one?
Yeah, Joe Jordan. That type of centre forward. You tend not to see too many of them anymore. So Didier Drogba, right? Mm-hmm. Try and name. They don't spring to mind like they just did there, and there'll be others we've missed out. But he is a number 9 in the true sense of the word. Kane is a different type of number 9. Kane can do that job, but he can drop deep and be a 10 and be a creative player. That's not Haaland's game.
But also, that's not City's game, is it?
No, it's not.
They don't need that player to drop deep.
No, but they've got others that can do that.
Well, let me ask. You mentioned the others, right? So I would imagine they're still going to play 4-3-3, but it's going to be a different brand of football. I'm guessing. I'm guessing it's going to be more like the brand of football that Pep had at Bayern Munich when he had a big number 9, very similar.
Lewandowski.
Yeah, and play the football around him. Whereas at the moment they play with that false number 9. So I imagine it would be a slightly different way of watching Man City.
Yeah, and again, but that might be a part of his game because when we first saw Harry Kane, none of us really saw the player he is now.
No,
right? So he used to be a number 9, would play up top. He'd play predominantly. He would play in the Europa League for Spurs. That's when he first come to most of our attention. Certainly watching him. I know he went out on loan to Norwich. He was out on loan to one or two, I think, Millwall. But it's the first time we really saw him and saw him develop into the fine player he is right now. He's 21, Haaland. He's 21. So there's a lot of developing to his game that Pep will want to get his hands on and mould him into the player that he wants. So there might be a player in there that can drop deep, that is hold-up play, that he can coach that into him and runners go beyond. So let's not be too presumptuous about how they will play, but what we've seen so far, he loves to get in behind.
Okay.
Any high line there, he'll be galloping in behind.
A couple of questions. We've got so much to do, actually, in the first hour. A couple of questions I need to ask you. You've got players Mahrez, Sterling, Jesus, Foden and Grealish. Only 2 of those are going to play. Of course, if it's going to be a front 3, Haaland being the 3rd, who misses out? You
would have thought Jesus right away, but Jesus has been playing out wide quite a bit of late. Hasn't he? He's been keeping out Grealish.
And also, he's hit a bit of form of late as well.
You know, so you do wonder. I mean, Grealish won't go. You don't spend £100 million on Grealish and after one season throw him away.
Mahrez, PSG?
Mahrez is the one that springs to mind straight away would probably be Mahrez.
Okay.
Maybe, but they all offer something different, don't they? Mahrez, the way he cuts in on that right-hand side with that wand of a left foot. Can you imagine Haaland, far post?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Okay, and just quickly as well, what does this mean for clubs like Manchester United? Do you think they're more inclined now? I'm not saying they've got a chance of matching City because they're years off that, obviously, everyone knows that. But players like, for example, say Harry Kane, do you think he's now going to be wanted by more clubs because City have raised the bar?
I think other clubs. So Manchester United's main objective next season is to get back in the top 4. You can try and get close to City, but chasing City
happen,
right
realistically,
now,
impossible.
The first 12, 24 months, you would have thought it's Liverpool's job and Chelsea's job to get closer. Chelsea got to get closer at Liverpool before Chelsea get closer to City. They're all chasing the teams above, all chasing, trying. So right now, you can't help but think this is going to be one of the pieces of jigsaw that makes City unstoppable. But I'll throw it out there now. He's 21. Right, he has injuries. He's still learning his trade. He might struggle to adapt. The Premier League is a different. Okay, it's more similar to the German league. You would have thought than other leagues around Europe. But I'm not saying he's going to be an instant success. But the amount of chances that City create,
I think
I can't help but think that he's going to be in some beautiful areas. Yeah, I agree.